we've got an update. It looks like, per Stephanie White, of course, tonight is the Commissioner's Cup final with the Minnesota Lynx. Caitlin Clark, groin, is a game-time decision Tuesday, per Stephanie White. Clark was not seen participating at the beginning of shoot-arounds, which was 6 hours before the damn game. Okay. I mean, that's one way to.
The recent WNBA All-Star voting results have generated significant controversy after player ballots ranked Caitlin Clark as the 9th best guard in the league. This ranking has sparked widespread criticism from prominent sports figures who view the placement as unreflective of Clark's actual impact and performance. Michele Tafoya appeared on Dan Dekich's program to discuss the voting disparity, noting the contradiction between Clark's high public profile and her low peer ranking. The veteran broadcaster expressed concern about what appears to be persistent resentment toward Clark within the league, describing the situation as motivated by jealousy rather than objective assessment.
Before she, in an awful stretch of games, seems to be depressed on the court and playing with a completely different energy and emotion than what she had been before the Barbie brawl during the Connecticut Sun game. Question here is, Steve, are you buying the groin injury, or are they calling a timeout and letting her recoup mentally?
Okay, I'll play along here.
Tafoya emphasized the disconnect between different voting constituencies, highlighting how Clark dominated fan voting while finishing poorly among players. She referenced Clark's successful commercial partnerships and widespread popularity as evidence that her impact extends far beyond statistical measures that might justify such a low ranking. The broadcaster characterized the voting pattern as potentially activist in nature, suggesting players deliberately voted against Clark based on factors unrelated to basketball performance. This assessment aligns with observations that recent injuries or temporary struggles don't adequately explain the dramatic difference between public perception and peer evaluation.
I guess. Wow, that is a long, long time. So, a lot of reaction. A lot of reaction. I mean, this is trending, folks. The fact that these WNBA players disrespected Caitlin Clark in this manner. Dan Dakich had Michele Tafoya, the great Michele Tafoya, on his show today, and she commented about this.
Women of the WNBA voted Caitlin.
Meanwhile, Clark's status for the Commissioner Cup final remains uncertain, with coaching staff listing her as questionable despite extended absence from practice activities. The timing of injury announcements continues generating discussion about transparency and player availability reporting. Jason Whitlock also weighed in on the voting controversy, emphasizing the stark contrast between different voting groups. His analysis highlighted how Clark's first-place finish in fan voting and third-place media ranking make the 9th-place player vote particularly conspicuous.
I called her the league. That should be her moniker, because she is the league, right? She was injured. The ratings dipped. There was pressure for her to come back. She might have rushed back. And what happens when you rush back and you try to make up for one injury? You cause another one. Someone brought this up to me. Goes, Steve, you ever think that the last couple of games she is suffering or ailing physically because she may have come back too soon? Jason, there's a shot that could be very valid.
Commentary from various sources suggests demographic factors may influence player attitudes towards certain league personalities. The discussion includes observations about how identity characteristics potentially affect peer acceptance and recognition within professional sports environments. Dick Vitale, the legendary college basketball commentator, expressed strong disagreement with the player voting results. His statement emphasized Clark's transformative impact on league operations, including improvements to travel arrangements, salary structures, attendance figures, and television ratings.
Clark is the 9th best guard. They sure pay a lot of attention to the 9th best guard. I saw that you put out jealous is the word. I would agree with that. There is still, to this day, a lot of jealousy, and I think maybe it's even getting worse. I do.
I thought we were turning a corner here, Dan. I thought we saw her teammates having her back. I thought we were maybe settling down with this obsession with Caitlin Clark, and this, it really feels almost.
Vitale's perspective focuses on measurable benefits Clark has brought to all WNBA players through increased league visibility and commercial success. His commentary suggests players should appreciate these contributions rather than allowing personal feelings to influence professional recognition. The voting controversy occurs amid broader discussions about league culture and growth potential. Some observers argue that internal resistance to certain players limits the organization's ability to capitalize on increased public interest and commercial opportunities. Charles Barkley's previous comments about league dynamics have gained renewed relevance, with his assessments about jealousy and pettiness appearing prescient given current voting patterns. These observations suggest persistent cultural issues that may impede league development.
Now, if it's the other thing that she needs a timeout, people can talk about mental health. I think that's mental weakness, and she needs to toughen up if that is the case. I would be severely disappointed if it is the latter and not the former.
Okay, Steve, walk me through this, though. She was injured, as you said.
Yes.
She comes back, has the incredible...
Christine Brennan has proposed an alternative approach, suggesting Clark could potentially establish a competing league with major corporate backing. This concept reflects frustration with existing organizational dynamics and explores whether new structures might better serve emerging talent. The economic feasibility of alternative leagues receives consideration given Clark's substantial endorsement portfolio. Nike's significant investment in Clark, reportedly worth $28 million, demonstrates corporate confidence in her marketability independent of current league structures.
Almost like a hatred toward her, but it's clearly a jealousy. You know, she's got that great State Farm commercial where everything's better from the logo. Terrific ad, very smart. And so, you know, America loves her. The fans clearly love her. The media likes her, but the players can't stand her. 9th best guard in the league. Don't try to give me the excuses of, well, she's been struggling lately or she missed some games with injury. Come on. This is insanity. And I think it's an activist vote.
Television viewership data supports arguments about Clark's unique drawing power compared to other players. Analysis suggests her presence significantly affects audience engagement in ways that aren't replicated by other personalities, regardless of their statistical achievements. Corporate partnerships already established with major brands like Nike, Wilson, and Gatorade provide potential foundation for independent ventures. The financial resources available through these relationships could theoretically support alternative competitive structures. However, practical challenges would include facility acquisition, broadcast arrangements, and talent recruitment across multiple markets. Establishing competitive league infrastructure requires substantial time investment beyond initial financial commitments.
Incredible game against the New York Liberty. Incredible game. Let me see. And I don't think that was her first game back. No, it wasn't. That was her third game back. She came back on Tuesday, May 20th against the Atlanta Dream, had 27 points in that game. 27 points, 11 assists, 5 rebounds, went 9 of 20 in that game, 5 of 11 from three-point range. Next game against Atlanta.
Current WNBA leadership faces questions about maximizing growth opportunities presented by increased public interest. The disconnect between fan enthusiasm and internal player dynamics suggests organizational challenges in managing diverse constituencies. Shoe endorsement developments receive mixed reception, with some critics arguing that product designs don't sufficiently emphasize Clark's individual brand identity. The incorporation of legacy elements from other basketball personalities may dilute the unique marketing potential her name recognition provides.
By the women of the WNBA who simply cannot stand her success. It's so dumb and it's so childish.
An activist vote. My last video was literally the activist league voting against Caitlin Clark and moving Natasha Cloud 5 spaces above Caitlin Clark. The insanity around that alone.
The broader implications extend beyond individual recognition to questions about professional sports culture and peer evaluation systems. When player voting significantly diverges from public perception and media assessment, it raises questions about the objectivity of internal recognition processes. Some analysts suggest generational and cultural differences within the league may influence voting patterns beyond purely performance-based considerations. These dynamics potentially reflect broader societal discussions about identity, recognition, and professional competition. The controversy highlights tensions between traditional basketball evaluation metrics and newer measures of player impact, including social media engagement, commercial appeal, and cultural influence. Modern professional sports increasingly recognize these broader contributions to organizational success.
She goes 0 of 5 from 3, but she has 11 points. Am I reading it? Nope, I done screwed this up. I'm sorry. Let me. She actually came back against the New York Liberty. That was the first game back against the New York Liberty after her being out. I'm sorry. And she, again, 32 points, 7 of 14 from three-point range.
Future voting cycles will provide opportunities to assess whether current patterns represent temporary reactions or established trends within player peer evaluation. The evolution of these dynamics may significantly influence league culture and individual career trajectories going forward. Professional basketball's most scrutinized player finds herself sidelined tonight due to a groin injury, though skepticism surrounds the timing and legitimacy of this absence. Recent performance statistics paint a concerning picture for the league's marquee talent.
Is enough to put somebody in the asylum. I mean, honestly, it's jealousy, it's pettiness, and there is a certain amount of political agenda involved here. Jason Whitlock weighed in. Players voting for the WNBA All-Star voting, Caitlin Clark finished 9th among guards. From the ESPN story, quote, Clark finished 1st in the fan vote. She was 9th in the players' vote and 3rd in the media vote.
Statistical evidence reveals a dramatic decline in shooting efficiency over recent contests. Three-point accuracy has plummeted catastrophically, with conversion rates dropping from elite levels to barely functional percentages. Field goal attempts increasingly result in misses, while turnovers have multiplied significantly during this troubling stretch. Observable changes in court demeanor and competitive intensity suggest something deeper than temporary shooting struggles. The energy and passion that previously defined this player's approach appear diminished following recent controversial incidents involving physical confrontations during competition.
It's the most electric game she ever played. And then she follows that up 3 days later against the Connecticut Sun, 20-point game, 4 of 6 from three-point range. So in the 2 games before that New York Liberty, or in the 2 games, in her initial 2 games after coming back, she's 11 of 20 from 3. And now, after the Barbie brawl, she's 1 of 23. Can we rush back, and this is the
Two contrasting theories emerge regarding this absence. Physical ailments could legitimately explain declining performance if the initial injury recovery proved incomplete. Rushing back prematurely often leads to compensatory injuries as athletes attempt to overcome limitations through altered movement patterns. Alternatively, mental fatigue from relentless scrutiny might necessitate strategic rest. Professional sports psychology recognizes the toll that constant pressure and criticism can exact on even elite performers. However, championship caliber athletes traditionally transform adversity into motivation rather than allowing circumstances to diminish their effectiveness.
Voting for guards. Yeah, they hate Caitlin. They're jealous. It's petty. It's jealousy. She's moving the needle. They can't stand her. She's straight and white. They can't stand her. By the way, they've propped up Paige Beckers in all this. All right. And look, Paige is having a good season, but we know, look, Paige checks one of those big boxes.
Historical precedent supports the physical explanation. Previous comeback performances demonstrated exceptional ability when healthy, including dominant displays immediately following the initial return from injury. 3 consecutive games showcased elite shooting percentages and overall excellence before the current downturn began. The dramatic contrast between early comeback success and recent struggles suggests external factors beyond simple physical limitations. Outstanding performances against quality opposition prove this player's capabilities remain intact when properly supported and focused. Organizational responsibility becomes relevant when examining support structures surrounding franchise centerpiece talents. Successful teams historically construct rosters and systems specifically designed to maximize their primary assets' effectiveness. Role players understand their function within the larger framework.
The injury deal, I don't. This seems.
I'm
DeWanna
just
Bonner
saying,
quits
again,
the team.
We're speculating, but I've said this. She needs to toughen up. She's awfully dainty. And I think it's a little unfair, the expectations placed on her. She's never going to please everybody. But again, that's why I will never compare her to Jordan in any way. Jordan steeled himself in situations like this. He used this as motivation and fuel.
The championship organizations from basketball history demonstrate this principle repeatedly. Every supporting player sacrifices individual statistics and recognition to enhance the primary star's opportunities. Screening assignments, defensive responsibilities, and offensive spacing all serve the greater tactical purpose. Current roster construction may not optimally support the featured player's needs. Leadership qualities and veteran presence that typically protect valuable assets appear insufficient for handling the unique pressures surrounding this situation.
She checks one of those big boxes, and this is where we're at. If you don't check one of those boxes, you can forget it. RG3, Robert Griffin III, the players voted Caitlin Clark as the 9th best guard. Stop hating. I mean, that's the view that everybody, it's side eye. Dick Vitale, the legendary Dick Vitale.
Coaching considerations also merit examination. Elite performers require mentors capable of providing both tactical guidance and emotional support during challenging periods. Historical examples show how strong coaching relationships help navigate external pressures while maintaining competitive focus. The leadership profile necessary for this role extends beyond tactical knowledge to include personal courage and public advocacy. Defending valuable assets against unfair treatment or biased officiating requires coaches willing to accept consequences for protecting their players.
If she's letting this beat her down, then she's not meant to be the league, even though she is and will be. That's the reality of this.
I'm not going to belabor the point with you, Steve, but come on, man. This is a 23-year-old woman who's been at the center of a racial conflict and conversation that no 23-year-old girl from Iowa has any interest at all in participating in.
Current coaching arrangements may lack the institutional gravitas or personal characteristics needed to effectively shield the franchise's most important asset from external negativity. Investment in premium coaching talent often proves worthwhile when protecting generational talents. Competitive environment factors cannot be ignored when analyzing performance decline. Physical play has intensified against this particular player, with officials apparently allowing more contact than typical for players of similar stature and position. Officiating consistency concerns emerge when examining how different players receive protection under identical circumstances. Referee bias, whether conscious or unconscious, can significantly impact player safety and performance effectiveness over time.